attacks tell us about what Netanyahu's next move. Israel's ground invasion of Lebanon is about to end its second week, as Israel's war has already entered its second year. Appeals for a ceasefire have increased following an airstrike in Beirut on Thursday night, and the wounding on Friday, for the second day running, of UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon by Israeli military fire. A new offensive is taking place in Jabalia, in northern Gaza, despite persistent calls for the conflict there to end. Israel's allies are also urging restraint as the country prepares to retaliate against Iran, following last week's ballistic missile attack. However, Israel will continue to pursue its own path, and resist this pressure, because of three factors: the 7th of October, Benjamin Netanyahu and the United States. It was in January 2020 when Iranian General Qasem Soleimani landed at Baghdad airport on a nighttime flight from Damascus. Soleimani was the head of Iran's notorious Quds Force, an elite, clandestine unit of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps specializing in overseas operations. The group, whose name means Jerusalem, and whose main adversary was Israel, was responsible for arming, training, funding and directing proxy forces abroad in Iraq, Lebanon, the Palestinian territories and beyond. At the time, Soleimani was perhaps the second most powerful man in Iran, after the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. As Soleimani's convoy left the airport, it was destroyed by missiles fired from a drone that killed him instantly. An Iranian woman carries a shawl with pictures of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, left, and IRGC Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani hanging around her neck during a march in Tehran. Hassan Nasrallah, left, and Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Although Israel provided intelligence to help locate its arch-adversary, the drone belonged to the United States. The assassination order had been given by then U.S. President Donald Trump, not Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. "I never forget that Bibi Netanyahu let us down," former President Trump would later say in a speech referring to the Soleimani assassination. In a separate interview, Trump also suggested that he had expected Israel to play a more active role in the attack and complained that Netanyahu was willing to fight Iran to the last American soldier. While Trump's account of events is disputed, at the time it was believed that Netanyahu, who praised the killing, was concerned that direct Israeli involvement could provoke a large-scale attack against Israel, either from Iran directly, or its proxies in Lebanon and the Palestinian territories. Israel was fighting a shadow war with Iran, but each side was careful to keep the fighting within certain bounds, for fear of provoking the other into a larger-scale conflict. Just over 4 years later, in April of this year, the same Benjamin Netanyahu ordered Israeli jets to bomb a building in the Iranian diplomatic compound in Damascus, killing 2 Iranian generals amongst others. Then in July, the Israeli Prime Minister authorized the assassination of Fuad Shukr, Hezbollah's top military commander, in an airstrike on Beirut. The response of the current U.S. president was reportedly to swear at him, according to a new book by Bob Woodward, who claims that President Joe Biden was aghast that Israel's prime minister was prepared to escalate a conflict the White House had been trying to bring to an end for months. "You know, the perception of Israel around the world increasingly is that you're a rogue state, a rogue actor," President Biden is reported to have said. The same prime minister, characterized as being too cautious by one U.S. president, was then castigated as being too aggressive.